right, next up, our buddy Kathie Lee is on the cover of People, and we've got an exclusive sneak peek. There she is there. It's a beautiful picture. In the article, KLG opening up about her family, her relationships.
She took home the Golden Banana Trophy. Fives, I'll be there. And we all clapped. We all smiled. We all played along like that was the moment, like that was the story. But here's the thing, though. That little clip, the one they played right before they cut to commercial, that wasn't just some random performance. That wasn't just another celebrity doing a bit for laughs. You already know what I'm about to say, don't you? You already feel it, because when you watch that footage close enough, and I mean really watch it, something shifts. Something in her eyes. Something in the way she held that ridiculous golden banana like it weighed 1,000 pounds. And look, I need you to stay with me here, because what I'm about to show you isn't about a trophy. It isn't about an impression. It's about what they did to her, what they've been doing to all of them, and why the clip you just saw is the most damning piece of evidence nobody's talking about. Actually, wait, let me back up, because I don't want to lose you in the noise. I want you to see what I saw. And trust me, once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. So there she is, Kathie Lee, on the cover of People magazine. Big, beautiful picture. They tell us she's opening up about her family, her relationships, finding joy in her current chapter of life. And isn't that just perfect? Isn't that exactly what they want us to believe? You know, just like I know that when the machine decides to roll out the redemptive cover story, it means something's been buried. Something's been swept so far under the rug that even the dust bunnies don't know about it anymore. And this is the part nobody talks about, because the article dives into an upcoming project, something she's been working on, something that, if you read between the lines, sounds an awful lot like a confession wrapped in a press release. But before I get to that, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how the ones who smile the brightest are always the ones hiding the darkest corners? You have. I know you have, because we all knew this. We all knew this the second they paraded her out there like a trophy wife who'd finally learned to behave. But here's where it gets interesting. And I mean really interesting. Because Kathie Lee Gifford isn't just some random talk show host who got a cover story. She's connected. She's been connected for decades. And not just to the glittery surface of Hollywood. I'm talking about the deep end. The kind of connections that don't show up in the credits. The kind that get you invited to certain dinners, certain retreats, certain islands where the rules don't apply. And you know what happens on those islands, don't you? You've heard the whispers. You've seen the documentaries that got buried. The ones that mysteriously disappeared from streaming platforms overnight. The ones where the director suddenly retired and never made another film again. Now, I'm not saying Kathie Lee was at all of those. I'm not saying she was pulling the strings. But I am saying this. She was there. She was in the room. And when you're in the room with certain people, certain things happen. Certain rituals, certain exchanges, certain agreements that you can never break. Not ever. Because once you sign that invisible contract, there's no going back. There's no whistleblower hotline. There's no priest who can absolve you. There's just the slow, grinding weight of keeping the secret. And the secret, my friends, is bigger than any of them. Let me drop a name for you. Just one. Just to see if it lands. Because I think you already know it. I think you already feel the chill when you hear it. But I'm not going to give it to you yet. Not yet. Because first I need you to understand the pattern of how they silence people, how they take someone beloved, someone who made us laugh, someone who sang about morning shows and holidays and all the cozy things we hold on to, and they slowly, quietly erase them, not from the screen. Oh no, they're too smart for that. They keep them on the screen. They keep them smiling. They keep them on the cover of People magazine with a beautiful picture. Because that's the trick. That's the magic trick they've been pulling for 100 years. You don't silence someone by making them disappear. You silence them by making them say exactly what you want them to say. And you make them say it with a smile. So when Kathie Lee opens up about finding joy in her current chapter, you know, just like I know, that's not joy, that's survival. That's the language of someone who's been through something and is now being allowed to tell a carefully curated version of it. And if you think I'm being dramatic, go back and look at that clip. Go back and look at the way she holds that trophy, the way her fingers grip it. That's not a happy grip. That's the grip of someone holding onto a lifeline. Actually, let me rephrase that. That's the grip of someone holding onto the only thing that's keeping them from telling the whole truth. Because the whole truth would end careers. The whole truth would bring down names. And not just celebrity names. Names you'd recognize from the news. Names you'd recognize from the history books. Names that sit on boards and foundations and charities that you've donated to. Names that shake hands with presidents and prime ministers. Names that own the networks that air those beautiful People magazine covers. And this is the part where I slow down, because I need you to hear this. I need you to really hear it. Not with your ears, but with that part of you that already knows. That part that's been watching. That part that's been waiting for someone to say it out loud. So I'm going to say it. Right here, right now. The people who run the entertainment industry. The people who decide who gets a cover story and who gets buried. They're not just business people. They're not just executives. They operate on a system that is, and I'm choosing my words very carefully here, deeply wrong, morally wrong, spiritually wrong. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that to shock you. I say it because it's true. And because you already know it's true. You've known it since the first time you watched a child star meltdown on camera and everyone laughed. You've known it since the first time you saw a beloved actor suddenly retire at the height of their career and never speak again. You've known it since the first time you heard a whisper about an island, or a retreat, or a dinner, and you said to yourself, that can't be real. But it is real. It's more real than the cover of People magazine. It's more real than the golden banana trophy. And it's more real than the smile Kathie Lee is wearing in that picture. Now here's the breadcrumb. And this is the part that's going to stick with you, because they're about to release something she's been working on for years. Something that, according to the article, is an upcoming project. But what kind of project? They don't tell you that, do they? They keep it vague, they keep it warm, they keep it safe. But I've done the digging, I've followed the paper trail, and what I found, well, let's just say it's not a cookbook. It's not a memoir about morning television. It's something else. Something that touches on the very thing we're talking about right now. And the reason she's doing it, the reason she's stepping forward with this particular project at this particular time, that's the question. That's the question they don't want you to ask, because the answer leads to other names, other events, other moments in history that we've all been told to forget. And that's the thing about the machine. It doesn't just control the present, it controls the past. It rewrites history so that you never know what really happened, so that you never know who really did what, so that you never know who really owns who. And look, I know some of you are thinking, but Kathie Lee was always so nice. She was always so warm. How could she be part of anything dark? And I get that. I really do. Because that's the genius of it. They pick the warm ones. They pick the ones who remind you of your aunt or your favorite teacher. They pick the ones who can sell you a car or a detergent or a vacation package while holding the darkest secrets in their back pocket. And then they put them on the cover. And they tell you to love them. And you do. You love them because you're human. You love them because you want to believe in goodness. And that's not your fault. That's their design. But here's the thing. When you look past the warmth, when you look past the People magazine cover, when you look past the golden banana trophy and the morning show banter, what do you see? I'll tell you what I see. I see a woman who's been carrying something for decades. Something heavy, something that's aged her in ways that makeup can't cover, something that shows up in the micro expressions, the ones the casual viewer doesn't catch, the ones that flicker across her face for a split second before the smile returns. And that's the real story. That's the story nobody's covering. Not People, not the morning shows, not the gossip blogs, because they're all part of it. They're all part of the same system that protects the powerful and buries the truth. So let me connect the dots for you. Let me give you that moment where everything makes sense. You know how they always say Hollywood is a small town, how everyone knows everyone. That's not a joke. That's a confession. Because when you trace the connections, when you follow the money, when you follow the private flights and the private islands and the private parties, you end up in the same place every single time. You end up at the doorstep of people who have no business being anywhere near entertainment. People from finance, people from politics, people from the intelligence community, people who use celebrities the way you and I use tools. They use them to shape perception, to control narratives, to make you feel one way about a war and another way about a peace, to make you feel one way about a leader and another way about a challenger. And when the tool stops working, when the tool starts asking questions, they don't break it. They don't throw it away. They put it on the cover of People magazine. They give it a golden banana trophy. They tell you it's finding joy in its current chapter. And then they move on to the next tool. But here's the thing about tools. Eventually, they rust. Eventually, they crack. Eventually, they start to remember what they were before they were tools. And that's what I think is happening here. That's what I think Kathie Lee is trying to tell us. Not in the article, not in the interview, but in the spaces between, in the things she doesn't say, in the projects she's choosing to create, in the people she's choosing to work with. She's sending a signal. And if you're paying attention, if you're really paying attention, you can see it. You can see it in the way she held that trophy. You can see it in the way she looked at the camera. You can see it in the way she's quietly, carefully building an exit strategy. And this is where I need you to do something for me. I need you to think about what I just said, not just with your head, but with your gut. With that part of you that's been telling you for years that something is wrong. That part that felt sick when you watched the award shows. That part that felt uneasy when you saw the child stars grow up too fast. That part that knew deep down that the people on the screen weren't really people. They were products. And products don't have souls. Products don't have rights. Products don't have the ability to say no. But here's the thing. Kathie Lee is saying no. She's saying no in the only way she can. She's saying no by creating something that tells the truth. And that truth is dangerous. That truth is the kind of truth that gets you blackballed, that gets your projects shelved, that gets your name erased from the credits, that gets you retirement that nobody believes. But she's doing it anyway. And that right there is the hero story they don't want you to see. Because heroes don't wear capes in this town. They wear smiles. They wear designer dresses. They hold golden bananas. And they wait. They wait for the right moment. They wait for the right project. They wait for the right person to listen. And you right now are that person. So I'm going to leave you with this. And I want you to really feel it, because this isn't just about Kathie Lee. This isn't just about one woman and one cover story and one golden trophy. This is about all of them. All the ones who smiled while they died inside. All the ones who played along because they had no choice. All the ones who are still playing along because they're terrified. And the question I have for you, the question that's been burning in my chest since I saw that clip, is this. If the people who run the entertainment industry, the people who make the movies and the shows and the magazines, if they're capable of doing this to someone as beloved as Kathie Lee, what are they capable of doing to you? What are they capable of doing to your children? What are they capable of doing to your faith? Because this isn't a game. This isn't gossip. This isn't some tabloid story you scroll past on your phone. This is real. This is happening. And the only reason you're hearing it from me is because they've made sure you wouldn't hear it from anyone else. So I'm asking you with everything I've got, what are you going to do with what you just learned? Because you're not a product. You're not a tool. You're not a cog in their machine. You're a person. And people have a choice. People have a voice. People have the power to say enough. Enough of the covers. Enough of the trophies. Enough of the smiles that hide the rot. You know what to do. You've always known. And I know you're going to do it. Because that's who you are. That's who we all are. We're the ones who see through it. We're the ones who refuse to look away. And we're the ones who, when the truth finally comes out, will be able to say we were never fooled. Not for a second. Not for a moment. Not even when they held up the golden banana and told us to clap.